What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here again for another Tottenham update. I am here with Mr. Brian Daigle. How are we doing today, bro?
I'm doing okay, brother. I'm doing okay, and it's always a pleasure to be with you. So better now. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. We've got a monster update to get through. 11 o'clock at night in the UK. So let's get straight into it. And we're going to start off talking about Chelsea's Pedro Neto, which is a very interesting development happening today. And so Spurs Journal said Tottenham interest in Pedro Neto is long-standing and genuine. Discussions with Chelsea are not yet advanced. One of several dynamic attacking options are being considered as Spurs look to add 3 forwards in this window. Himothy have said that Tottenham have sent a verbal bid to Chelsea for winger Pedro Neto. Neto is in addition to Savinho. I have since had a text from Spurs Journal saying that another source of his has completely shot down these rumours. So make of that what you will. But in terms of Pedro Neto, what do you think?
First of all, if I had to have a list of 20 wingers we could have been linked with, he wouldn't have even been on my radar just because of Chelsea. And to be honest, I've completely forgotten about him. But what I will say about him, we know we wanted him at Wolves. At Wolves, we know he could be electric on his day. An injury struck. Hasn't quite worked out for him at Chelsea. We do know on his day he can be incredible. I think his injuries have improved since being at Chelsea. He's been a lot more available. He's been a lot more available. So on his day, he can be incredible. But it hasn't worked out at Chelsea. Is that the system? Is that the amount of managers changes they've had and the amount of players they bring in? Put it this way, he wouldn't be on my list to get in, but I wouldn't be disappointed if we did get him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player that kind of fills a role in the squad, doesn't he? Because he can play right, he can play left, he can do it to a great standard. I think if he came in, I think he plays the way that De Zerbi wants to play as well. Fast, dynamic, can get good crosses in. You're right. It hasn't gone completely according to plan at Chelsea. But what I would say, it hasn't been all bad. I think he's been a bit hit and miss. You know, he's had some good games, some bad games, never really a consistent run of good form. But I was speaking to Sammy earlier, and he actually rates him. He said Pedro Neto is a good player. So some Chelsea fans actually do rate him, but he hasn't reached the heights, let's say, that he reached at Wolves. So I'll be open. I'd be open to seeing him come in, especially if it's alongside Savinho, because I think he's the better winger than Savinho right here, right now.
I will say, when you mentioned Chelsea fans, I saw a lot of Chelsea fans on Twitter, and they were more positive about getting the deal done than keeping him. But that's Twitter, and that's not the whole Chelsea fan base. Again, we're waiting to see who this forward line is, isn't it? It looks like we are going for forwards right across the line, and they're all going to fit into the same piece, aren't they? They're going to get wingers that can sort this striker out, or a striker that can suit these 2 wingers. And like I said, Pedro Neto wouldn't have been on the list at all if I had to think of him. But on his day, what he can do is sensational. So it's injuries seem to have cleared up. We wanted him, was it last season, the season before? No, 2 seasons ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, about a couple of seasons ago, yeah.
And we were all wanting him then. I'd be open to it, but I still think we can get better.
You know, when we were linked with him then, and he ended up going to Chelsea, I had massive arguments with Sim. Like, he was saying, you've got to get him in, you've got to get him in. His talent is undeniable. And I was always saying, no, I don't really want him because of those injury problems that he does have. Now those are behind him. If he does come in and he can realise his potential, and I think De Zerbi is a manager that can potentially bring that out, then you've got a top-class winger there. You really do. And he's started every game pretty much for Portugal in the World Cup.
Yeah, if he can get back to his Wolves days, then we would, if it happened, we would have a player on our hands. We'd have a real, like, he tore Chelsea to shreds on a few occasions. Actually tore a lot of teams to shreds at Wolves. So on his day, he can be electric, but whether he can sustain that and get back to that, we'd have to see.
Another name that's been linked to Spurs is this guy, Jean-Mattéo Bahoya of Eintracht Frankfurt. Spurs Journal saying that Bahoya is a player that Tottenham are considering for the winger option this summer. I don't know if you remember when we played Frankfurt last summer, he absolutely destroyed us. down that left-hand side. More of a wing-back than a winger in that system, but I think naturally he is more of a winger than a wing-back. His numbers are not exactly scream at you as someone that's going to come in and make a big difference, but he's someone that's got talent. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him play week in, week out, so it's hard to say too much. The only real time I've seen him play is when he played against us, and I thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he had that good game for us. Again, it looks like we're going quite young for these wingers, doesn't it? It looks like the ones that we do want are of a young age. So I don't really know a lot about him. But like I said, wing back, can play winger. If we got him, he'd be another left back or left wing back to add to the 85 we've already got. Don't know enough about him. So if we want to go upper class, I don't know if he's the one, but I don't know enough about him to say.
Yeah. Again, his numbers in the Bundesliga is not exactly that blow your mind. So I prefer Pedro Neto, put it that way.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
On Junior Kroupi, not the greatest update, as Spurs Jono is saying that Kroupi's representatives have been told there's no price at which he'll be sold this summer. Sorry, that wasn't Spurs. That was from Mark Douglas, who's a Northern football correspondent. Spurs Jono says that there's still no progress on Kroupi, and the chances of a deal have not increased in recent days. And this is obviously, we reported today that PSG might be sniffing around now. And if they get a deal agreed with Bournemouth, then that's obviously nailed in the coffin for Spurs. But apparently the word that they're putting out is that he's not going to be sold at any price. But I guess you would say that if you're trying to get the biggest price, aren't you?
Yeah. Did you say that first reporter was a Northern journalist?
Northern correspondent, yeah.
So he's talking about a Southern football team. So I'll take that with a pinch of salt. Like we have to take everything, really. I think Kroupi is a real...
No one's seen no news, huh, Daigle?
Mate, I was just going there. You've just stole the words out of my mouth. Spoken like a true professional. No one's seen no news. Yeah, look, Paris Saint-Germain, we spoke about this when we spoke on the phone earlier, didn't we? I think they are the only threat to us. With Diomande falling through, they could be back on the cards, and I think it could be a big issue. But if he's to join a team in England, I think it'll be Spurs. And if a Northern journalist is reporting it, with all due respect, I will wait till the Southern or Bournemouth experts start talking.
Yeah. Don't know if it's a Northern London journalist, but who knows? Let's talk about this situation with Cristian Romero. What is going on with this one? So basically, Himothy and Spurs Journo. So it was just Himothy saying, understand that Tottenham have offered Cristian Romero to Chelsea and the player is keen on the move. Again, I got a text from Spurs Journo and he says his sources are completely rubbishing this. There's not much to it. But look, Himothy saying there is something to it. We're offering him to Chelsea. How would you feel about that if Romero was to join Chelsea?
I think this is kind of like Luka Modric when we'd rather he goes abroad, in all honesty. I wouldn't want to see him in the Premier League.
The difference is we didn't want to sell Luka Modric. We want to sell Kroupi.
No, that is the problem. But what I'm saying is I'd rather he go abroad than go anywhere in the Premier League. And to that lot there, he could be like their defense is a bit shaky. In an Alonso Chelsea, he could be the backbone of it. And I think Chelsea would be the ones in England that would pay the money. But apparently, like you mentioned earlier, he really wants Barca apparently now, doesn't he? Apparently, like you said, I didn't know that he came out as a Barca fan. I've seen things saying that he's got his brothers and whatever trying to push for a Barca move. So I'm hoping he's going abroad. It would be really weird that of all places teams that we start doing business with Chelsea, it's for him. I don't know how I feel about it, but I do want him to leave the club. I do think water under the bridge and it needs to go to another Premier League team, though. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if he was going to like Manchester United or a club like that, I wouldn't care as much. But Chelsea just doesn't leave a good take. Can you imagine him lining up against Spurs in a Chelsea Spurs game? It just won't feel right, would it? It wouldn't feel right at all.
Well, hopefully the kiss that Romero was giving Boro yesterday was a kiss goodbye. But let's just hope it's not to West London. I really hope he goes abroad. But stranger things have happened, but I just can't see it. I just can't see it.
No, I can't see this happening in a million years, to be honest. I really can't. It just makes me feel a bit like I don't think we should be doing business with Chelsea, just like we don't do business with Arsenal. I don't even think we should be doing business with West Ham, but it's a bit of a different relationship there.
Yeah.
We just take our best players every year. But I hate this kind of thing, like football rivalry. Look at Arsenal and Chelsea. They do
Yeah.
deals every summer. Like Spurs and Chelsea shouldn't really be doing business with each other. So, look, I'm not going to say no to Pedro Neto, but I still don't feel right doing,
Well, Ben, put it this way. If I said to you the deal came out now, that it was Romero one way, Cole Palmer the other, then that you're like, oh, maybe we should do business with Chelsea. But I just can't see this deal going ahead. And the fact that it's being rubbished by Spurs Journo, and Ornstein would have broken this, wouldn't he? Ornstein this would be all over him, and Romano. So I think no news is good news, and it's not happening with Chelsea.
There's another part of me, though, that thinks like if you could get a 60 million off Chelsea but can only get a 40 million from Spain, then I'm taking the 60 million all day long from Chelsea.
You are?
100%.
I don't know. I mean, I get it, the extra 20 million, but I would rather he be abroad. I would rather have him off the wage bill. And yeah, 20 million is a bit, actually, Joe, what, 20 million is a big chunk of change. So yeah, I probably would agree with you. But if it was like 10 or something, then I'd be less inclined for him to go to Chelsea and go to pastures new in Europe.
Yeah. It's not like I'll be happy about it, but I'll take it. I'll take it at the end. Because he's a player that we're trying to get rid of at the end of the day.
Yep. Correct.
So,
correct.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about Lucas Bergvall, another player being linked with those lot down the road. Obviously, we brought you the news earlier on today that another bid from Nottingham Forest has been turned down for Lucas Bergvall. Himothy again is saying that Chelsea have inquired for Lucas Bergvall and Newcastle are still pushing to sign him. So is someone telling me that there's going to be a bidding war going on here? What is going on?
Well, it looks like, I think this season it's the first one that I've seen the full deck of the cards that you've got with the club's rumoured with someone. So I think that's the first one with the full deck of cards. So it looks like a bidding war could happen. I didn't know this Chelsea had rumoured. Look, if Chelsea take him, look what Chelsea have done with Gittins and all these players they buy. He's going to be, for me, exactly the same. He'll just stagnate. If he wants to develop his career, Chelsea wouldn't be the move for me because I can't see him getting first team.
They've got Xabi Alonso now. It could be different.
Fair. I just hope he ends up at Forest and there's some kind of part exchange with a certain player that I love. Is what I'm hoping for. Where he goes, we'll find out.
I think Forest actually might be the best move for his career. Potentially Chelsea, if Xabi Alonso, favours him or whatever. I would actually prefer Romero to go to Chelsea than Lucas Bergvall because Lucas Bergvall is actually someone I want to keep at the club, and Lucas Bergvall is someone I've got high hopes for. So, yeah, it would pain me a lot to see Lucas Bergvall in a Chelsea shirt. It would pain me less, I would say, to see Romero in a Chelsea shirt.
That's a fair comment. I mean, I'm not with you. I'm with you on a lot of things, but with Bergvall, I'm just like, he's not going to get first team football. The midfielders we've got, get him out. Chelsea would ruin him. I think he'd be brilliant at Forest. And like you, I think you were saying earlier in the live stream you were doing when you're speaking with Glasner there, Forest are going to be a different outfit this season, or after the first few months when they've actually got into Glasner's system, they are going to be a very different football team, and they are prepared to spend money. Villa, if you want to spend some of that money you've just got from Rodgers, do so. And Newcastle, if they want to go give us money back for Tonali, fair play.
Next up, we shall be speaking about the one and only Djed Spence, and reports in Italy. A journalist called Luca Cerioni says that Inter Milan have made first contact now with Djed Spence's camp. Tottenham value him at 40 million euros, which Inter deem excessive and hope will lower if the player is keen to join. I mean, surely you can't go lower than 40 million euros, which is what, like 35 million pounds or something for someone that has just been an outstanding player for England at the World Cup. I mean, surely Spurs have got to demand more money than that.
Yeah, I think the fee they're asking, they definitely shouldn't go lower. I'm open to Djed leaving. Even though after those 4 or 5 games, he did very, very well. He did, and I'm someone that's quite harsh on Djed Spence because I think on the left he's been very suspect going forward for us, but he showed the opposite for the England games. But there's a lot of people that want to talk about how De Zerbi dropped Bergvall and Gray for Bentancur and Paulinho. Well, we dropped Spence immediately for Destiny. So do I see a future here for him? I don't. And I think he wants to move because he can't demand first team football. But if Inter think we're going to lower the price, I don't think Spurs should in a million years.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way I look at it is that I'm looking at our fullbacks now, Destiny, Robertson, Spence and Boro. I just think that's a complete set. I don't think there's any need to break that up. I don't think there's any need to go looking for another one. Look, if Djed wants to leave himself, then fair enough. He wants to go get first team football and consistent minutes, and I respect that. And yeah, we can probably get a decent fee for you. But if it was up to Spurs and Djed was happy to stay, I'm happy to keep him. And I think, we've got a good set of fullbacks there, and there's no real reason to break that up.
The only reason I go against that is because, again, he plays better at left back than he does right back, and we need cover for. When we were linked with Neco Williams, I was excited. I really was, because I think he's a very, very good fullback, and gives you. Yes, he hasn't got the speed and agility of Spence, but for what a fullback does or wing back, he does offer both forward and defensively. So I just don't see him playing right back. He looks so. I think Djed Spence is a left back. I really do. I can't. He doesn't look that comfortable on the right that he did for England anyway. And I think we need another right back.
I think he is a right back. I think you give him more minutes at right back, he'll start to look more comfortable on that side again. I think he looks more comfortable at left back because he's playing at left back more regularly. But he is a natural right back. So I think give him the minutes there. Every time he's been playing at right back, it's either just a few minutes here, a few minutes there, maybe one start in a couple of months. He's never able to get in a rhythm out on the right-hand side. So I just feel like, and also when he's on the right, he's on his best foot and can whip the ball in. Like when he's on the left, he always has to check in, go back onto his right foot. He's much more natural on the right. And I think if you give him more minutes there, he'll start to look more comfortable there, in my opinion. Yeah.
The final thing is, again, like, does De Zerbi want him? That's the thing. When he dropped him immediately for Destiny and Boro, was that saying that's who my fullbacks are? And this is how it's going to be. And I don't think Djed's going to wait around. What is he, 4 years into the club now? No, probably more. Probably more years.
He came under Conte, didn't he?
Yeah. So 3, 4, 5 years. When we had the 150 million, I think that was the year he got married, I think. What year did you get married?
23.
Okay, so no, he's been here more than 3. So who knows? 3, 4 years, whatever. But I can't see him wanting to play second fiddle, especially after this World Cup.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing. That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't want to play second fiddle, and if he wants to go, he goes with my blessing. But if he's happy to stay, there's no need to uproot it. Just keep him around, and we've got 4 good fullbacks there. That's all I'm saying.
No, I can understand that and agree with that, sir.
Next up, let's talk about Will Lankshear. Very interesting developments on Will Lankshear. Himothy and Spurs Journal together saying Will Lankshear is being offered to other clubs on a permanent basis. It's looking very likely he's going to be leaving the club this summer. And Alistair Gold has confirmed that. And he said Middlesbrough are now in advanced talks to sign Will Lankshear permanently from Tottenham. Was all about the price tag being reached, and Middlesbrough appear to be closing in on it. Obviously, we heard last week from Alistair Gold saying that Spurs have rejected 3 bids of 8-figure sums. So we're gonna be getting some hefty fee here for Will Lankshear, and I bloody well hope there's a buyback option or something, because he's obviously a player that both of us are in agreement that we rate him very highly, and it's going to be a big shame to see him go.
Yeah, like I said, when this first broke, I was disappointed because I wanted to see him go to a chasing championship team or a European team where really pushing. We saw what he did with a relegated Oxford. He developed and he got 13 goals. And when it first happened, I was like, oh no. I was like, this one, I'd rather have him than Richarlison.
Mm.
If we didn't get a striker in, I'd rather he was leading it. But then when I heard the buyback clause, I was like, okay, this could be smart. Send him out. At least there is that option to bring him back. Should we choose to take up that option? I think he's I think he's become a very, very good goal scorer. I really, really do. I think the way he's bulking up, the way he's maturing, he did very well at Oxford. I will be sad to see him go like you. But maybe this is the challenge he needs. And like you said, to be getting 20 odd million or sorry, the high teams for him is big money.
Yeah, and Middlesbrough just had a big windfall, didn't they, for Morgan Rogers, because they had I think 15 or 20% on that Morgan Rogers deal, and they could be spunking a big chunk of that on Will Lankshear now. So
not messing around with it either.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be a hefty fee for someone that has only played 1 year in the Championship or 1 and a bit in the Championship. So he's going to go at a good price. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on him. Hopefully there is that buyback option, because I do think he's a player that could come back and potentially do well for us. But look, again, I have to wait and see what happens. Next up, we'll talk about Jamie Donley. Didn't have the best of times last year, but there could be some light in the end of the tunnel, because Alistair Gold says that Jamie Donley has impressed Roberto De Zerbi so far in pre-season and is in with a good chance of going on the tour to New Zealand and Australia later this week. So we heard from Lily White Rose, didn't we? I think you did it on the update with Sim a few days ago, saying that De Zerbi is being really impressed by Jamie Donley, and here's more evidence of it.
Yep, it looks that way, doesn't it? It looks that way. We're all talking about ripping this. A lot of people speaking now, we get letting go of all of our future players. Are we doing this? Are we doing that? Well, he seems to have picked out one in Jamie Donley that he does believe in, that he does see. Left foot, maybe what I do like about him is always tries to get the ball forward, doesn't he? He's not one of those that he turns with the ball and he looks forward directly. Got an eye for goal, brilliant at set pieces. So I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. He is a player that we've been hearing about for a long time. Like you said, last year, after the year before where he was sensational at Orient, he really had a bad year last year with bad loans and injuries. And De Zerbi has taken a shine to him. So if we do take him on tour, it'll be good to see what he's got.
Yeah, it's also, when you look at it, maybe there's a case to say, like, you've got Maddison just coming back from an ACL. You've got Javi out with an ACL. You've got Decky, who knows what's going on with him. So there's a big question mark around our number 10s at the moment. So maybe De Zerbi thinks that Donley can fill a void for the first half of the season at least.
Completely spot on. Agree with you. But like we said, we've seen it before where players like my boy Divine that had a great pre-season and then they went straight out on loan. We'll see what this means if he has a very good pre-season, because I think he will play. And also, he's another one that can play left back, wasn't he? He did that for Ange at one point in the pre-season.
I don't know if he can play left back, but he did play left back.
He did, yeah. But an option to do it. But like you said, with those injury concerns and Maddison just coming back and getting a full pre-season, we need cover. And if we're getting the front three sorted, maybe there's not time for another number 10 to get in. So maybe it's smart.
Yeah. And last but not least, we'll talk about our very own Jun'ai Byfield. There's an update from SZY saying that Tottenham have turned down 2 approaches for Jun'ai in recent days. Both approaches were initial loans with options to buy, and they were swiftly turned down. And look, you're looking at, we've spoken about it so many times over the past year or so. Ashley Phillips, Luka Vuskovic, Alfie Dorrington, all these other young centre-backs that we've had. Obviously, Luka's gone now. It looks as though Ashley Phillips could be up for sale as well this summer. So we've got to keep one of them around. And Jun'ai is like the kind of darling of the academy right now. He's got the biggest prospects of everyone. So we'll see. But I think it's smart to keep him around.
Again, when you were doing the live show today, I heard you talk about Ashley Phillips. I'm a huge fan of his. I really hope we don't sell him. I think he's destined for the top. And I really would be upset to see him go. But Jun'ai Byfield, look, he looks like he's going to be some player. And I would hope they turn any deal for him down. Apart from loans, straight loans, no options or whatever. Or keep him around. Like I said, there is a pathway being cleared. I've got to get Kota out the way. God knows why he's still here. Hopefully he'll be off because it's just not going to happen. Dorrington will be off. So we're going to have to keep some centre-backs at the club. And when he came on for the brief appearances he didn't look out of place. And I think at 17-year-old,
16 as well, yeah.
This guy is a prospect that I would like to see develop and see where he goes with Spurs. I really would. So good to hear that we're turning deals down.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Obviously, the news on Pedro Neto and Cristian Romero, I would say, take a pinch of salt with those updates because, very conflicting stuff going on about it right this second. So, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding everything else. But Daigle, thank you very much for coming on today. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.